We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity podcast for young men. Let's dive right in. Nora, what you got?
Sorry, I wasn't really prepared for this.
You're a woman, so you don't have to be. Kenny, what you got?
Um, the so I'm looking into go into law enforcement,
Yep.
and that people in law enforcement have a tendency to get burned out in
Yep.
7 years.
Yep.
How do you avoid that, or do you have a plan to just stay in there for 5 years and then do something else?
No, I wouldn't recommend that. I would not recommend that. I think the key is burnout. Where does burnout actually come from? Remember, I don't
Um,
know, sorry, go ahead.
I think it comes from Karina calls them your whims when you're chasing your whims. It's what you think you want, and you get it, and you realize it's actually not what you want.
I would um interesting. I guess if you did that for 7 years, I guess I could see that. Um, I visualize it kind of like a dog chasing a car. What are you going to do, dog, if you catch the car?
You're gonna
So
get dog to learn how to drive a car.
drive a car, probably.
Yes,
I mean, you
that's
know,
what I'm thinking.
if you bark a certain way, sure, yeah. So um, I think that burnout comes from boredom, actually.
Hmm.
Boredom?
Uh huh.
Is that just for the expressive or kind of for
No,
everybody?
everybody. It's when you're not like an airplane will go ahead and wear out faster on the ground than it will in the air because an airplane was designed to fly. That's why they park the airplanes in the desert when they're not being used because they wear out less, not as fast in the desert than they do in non-desert.
Because it's windy or
No, it's the humidity. The humidity is what will impact,
gotcha.
I believe. That's what it is. Nora would probably know. I'm sure that that's something that they get in training. No, they probably don't. Like, you don't train to park an airplane. You want to fly it. That's what it was created to do. Airplanes are created to fly, so you fly them. And so I think what it is, I wouldn't. I think what Karina is saying is actually true. It's like you think you're chasing a whim or you're chasing the dopamine hit. Like, that's why I think the life vision is so important. Like, I can't tell you how many times I felt like quitting. I mean, just even, I don't know, 6 months ago, my second daughter, she called, second oldest daughter, Melissa, called me and she says, Dad, I don't know how you do it. Probably 9 months ago. She's like, I don't know how you do it. She's like, I'm like, do what? She's like, I don't know how you don't quit. I'm like, right? No, I said, I didn't know that was an option, honey. She says, it's always an option, Dad. I'm like, well, if it's an option, I'm out of here. I'm done. I am done. If that's an option, then I'm done. And so, like, I don't, like Nora, I've told her a number of times, flying, I don't think that's her life vision. It does something to her that's magical. But a life vision is not for ourselves. It's not what it does for us. It's what it does for other people. Now, Medivac, like, so she grows up Amish, and so, well, you could die. Well, yeah, but somebody else could die if you're not there to airlift them out. Like, I think it's Lindsey Vaughn, a skier in the Olympics, and she was, she had something and then she wiped out and she was airlifted out. Um, was that her being brave for skiing when she had a torn ligament or whatever she had, or was that stupid? I don't think that that's like, you don't ask, are you doing something stupid? Okay, I'm not going to fly you out. No, You fly them out whether they're stupid or not. I get that. So it's something, there's something flying. Flying is a passion of Nora's, but it's not her life vision. Being a medevac pilot, you know, I think it's something more than that for her. And so, people tend to go ahead and get depressed or have midlife crises um, in one or two places. One is they haven't seen the success that they thought they were because they're chasing the success. So I think that's what, chasing a whim. It's like there's one whim chasing dopamine. Like that's not going to give you true fulfillment. So in 41 years of marriage, there were multiple opportunities, especially one at 20 years into the marriage. There was when I say good, I mean bad. I don't know. There was a huge opportunity. I could have left the marriage for something much, much better. I mean, when I say that, what I mean is it looks better, it feels better, it sounds, but it's integrity and integrity and not drinking. like I ain't got to been gone. And so, and so, so those are things that you build on a foundation. You build on a foundation. And so, like, I just thought of this the other day. I'm like, I've never thought of this before for Nora. Kenny, I've thought of this a lot. Like in law enforcement, like why is drinking such a massive issue in law enforcement? So that's a little troubling to me.
It's like they see it every day. They'd think, would it be, or they'd see the consequences of it.
No, why is it?
Well, they're carrying a gun.
How does that connect into how's that connect into drinking?
Well, they shouldn't be drinking.
No, why do they drink?
Oh, I don't know, high stress.
Okay. I've got high stress too. I don't drink. So why does high stress create drinking?
It's a getaway, an escape route,
It's an escape. So
temporary.
clarity about addiction, like this explains it all. So what it is it's entitlement. Every addiction comes back down to entitlement. And so entitlement grows with time. It grows with time. So you give into a little addiction and you give into, I mean, it was funny, like Ellen Miller. Like it's just fascinating to me on how like there's, people that go out and say, yeah, you should drink. I'm like, cheap. I mean, it's fine if they tell me that, I guess. Like, pretty sure not going to do it because Alvin said, I don't respect people if they don't. I don't respect if they don't do it. Really, Alvin? And it's like, um, and it's like, it's every addiction comes back to entitlement, and entitlement, it gets more and more. That's what the key is about. That's what the key is. So alcohol, you watch it. Have you all watched this video?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, like how, I don't know how that cannot like dang, because the addiction, what it does to the brain is it deceives the brain. That's what it does. It deceives the brain. And so, like coffee, like I don't drink coffee, never have. Pretty sure never will. What? Why? It's not, it's a temporary short-term stimulus. I have far more energy. Even like in the morning, it's interesting. I haven't had my coffee yet. I haven't had my coffee either. Like I have more energy in the morning. Like it's than people who drink coffee. Coffee actually goes ahead and hurts. It's a destimulant. It does. So when you see, so you go ahead and say, okay, I had a hard day at work. Oh, so Alvin, this last time, he says, something about, well, you could be addicted to, to ice cream. I'm like, right, I was. I mean, like I stopped eating ice cream for 6 years. And I can now feel it. Certain ice cream does something to me that it's like jeepers. I mean, yeah, true. You're not going to go ahead and you're not going to go ahead and get in an accident because you eat too much ice cream, probably. So Alvin says to me, he's like, so you've been addicted to ice cream, yeah? He's like, so you can be worse than an alcoholic, yeah? He looks at me. He wasn't expecting that. Like he's like, you're just weird. Understanding the chemicals in the brain and how those chemicals functions. I mean, it's fascinating with the hypoxia, oxygen to the brain, and how alcohol does it to you and flying does it to you. Altitude. It's not flying. I think it's altitude, right, Nora?
That's one of the
Okay, gotcha.
factors.
It's complicated. You're right. There's multiple pieces. There's, I think, 4 different types of hypoxia or something. So these are fascinating things. Like I would think if your life and somebody else's life depends on it. So I always knew law enforcement. So, you go ahead and have a drink because it's no big deal. And then you have, more stress. And, is there any stress in marriage?
Depends if the person drinks or not. No, nothing. Okay.
I wasn't sure I don't know what that means. Like, were you saying that it's not stressful if somebody's drinking? It's not stressful for them because they're drinking, or it's not
Correct.
stressful
Yeah.
for. So it's
Correct.
not stressful for somebody
Yeah.
that's drinking. Got it. Copy
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
So like drinking, what you do in drinking is if you're depressed, you drink, and then if you're celebrating, what do you do?
Drink.
Drink. Huh? What could possibly go wrong there? I mean, it's just, and so what it is, it's so yeah. There's stresses as in a marriage. So the drinking, all it does is it doesn't fix anything. It just makes it worse. It just does because you're not addressing your brain isn't figuring out how to handle the stress. So there's a lot of stress in the marriage. So if you get rid of stress because of the job, and is a wife going to say to a husband, you can't drink? She's not. Shoot, I can't even tell you how many wives I know that encourage their husbands to drink. I'm like, dang, that girl is stupid. I mean, I don't tell her that. Like, but she's just stupid. She doesn't understand. She just doesn't understand. I mean, eventually she will. When she starts feeling it, but by then it's too late. Because then it's going to create more stress. And so so you go ahead, and if you're going to relieve stress from your job by drinking, like when I was across the street and there were a bunch of people in construction, what's in the back of the truck?
Case of beer.
A whole bunch of beer. It wasn't a keg. Mark, you know what a keg is? I actually do. Like, like, like it, but there wasn't a keg, but there's a whole bunch of beer back there. I'm like, jeepers. So it's a reward. Like I'm entitled to this because I work hard. Okay. And when I'm depressed, I'm entitled to it. And then when I'm happy, I'm doing it. It starts to take over and it's insidious. Like in the tipping point, like one person, like you could go ahead and have, I don't know, a beer a day and you're not, it's not the tipping point. So you have it for years and it's not the tipping point, but you have a beer and one extra beer, two beers one day. And all of a sudden it's a tipping point, and everybody's tipping point is different. Nobody knows how to figure out what the tipping point is. And so, yeah, you're stressed with your wife, you drink. Why? Because that's your go to, and you're entitled to it. And she's the one that allowed it. Shoot, she might have encouraged it because she likes it when you're that way. Well, when it serves her well, then she likes it. But then all of a sudden, it becomes a bitter mistress. And then your kids, do kids create any stress?
I don't know. I don't have any.
Then you're not paying attention.
Pretty sure I didn't cause my parents any stress.
Good boy, Luke.
Yeah. Oh, I yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know how to respond to that. So,
So,
so, um, so everything creates stress, and so all of a sudden it just takes over. So again, I want to be clear. It's fascinating to me. I would say how stupid people are around me. I just like cheapers. People are just stupid. They're not paying attention. So I'm not saying people shouldn't drink. I'm just saying probably I'm pretty confident that's never going to be an issue in my marriage and my kids with me. It is with my kids.
So you're not saying people shouldn't drink. Are you saying people should drink?
No, I'm not saying that either.
Got it.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying they should or shouldn't. I'm just saying that you don't understand the implications of drinking. You don't know what it does to you.
Hmm.
And you don't have control of it. Don't even think you do. Because you don't understand how your brain works. Mark, do you understand? I don't. No, I don't either. But maybe I might have a little bit better idea you know, than some people do. Luke, what you got?
um, how do you learn to fly at a higher frequency?
Well, life will bring you there. Like like your bigger your life vision is, the bigger your life vision is, the uh stress, I think, forces you, stress, pain force you to go ahead and either drink or figure out how to handle it mentally. And so when you go ahead and like here in science, you have frequencies, and so frequencies are radio waves, and so are waves. They're waves, and so sound is waves, and so sound is frequency, and so radio waves, the frequency is it's stretched out. X-rays are the waves are tight together, and so it's tight together. So the tighter the wave, the more it can like radio wave can't really penetrate your skin or your bone, but X-rays can. It's fascinating. Oh, this might help. Not that any of you would ever get locked, but just in case you know somebody who does. This I discovered, you know, of somebody who was locked. You guys know of walls of opportunities. There's 6 ways you can, minimum of 6 ways. Every problem has 6 ways: over the wall, under, to the left, to the right, blow it up, tear it down, some way, somehow you're going to make a breakthrough. The bigger the wall, thicker the wall, the harder it is to make a breakthrough, the more important it is to make that breakthrough. And so what people do is people go ahead and they try one way and then they put all their energy into building their thinking around it, and they become locked. So they're not open. They're not open. They're not open. They might think they're open, but it doesn't seem like they're open. So they get locked. So they put all their energy around their current way of thinking. And so, how do you get to higher frequency? It seems like amiable is the lowest frequency. The analytic is the next higher frequency. The expressive is going to be higher frequency. And it seems like the driver is the highest frequency. Just, I don't know. Again, and when I told my 3 brothers this, I said, it's not better. Like, a gamma ray is not better than a radio wave. This is not inherently better, but it seems like the lower frequencies get jealous of higher frequencies. It seems like that. Trust me, you don't want to be jealous of them. You just want to pity them. like you just want to say, you don't want to be one of them. But if you're built to be one, or you have a life vision that's bigger than death, well, then you probably ought to learn how to handle your frequency. So the driver, you study maybe another idea. Luke, I don't think anybody's ever asked me that. It's a great question. Study people with higher frequencies and find out how their brains think, and then start to think like they think. Why would you ask that question, Luke?
And the connecting with people, sometimes like I'm around people that like I can't understand them or I can't connect with them because they're at a higher frequency than me.
Well, I don't know that they are. Like there's 2 people at the last coffee connection, and both of them, they went ahead and were talking after the coffee connection, and boy, did they love each other. Man, they just thought each other were the smartest people in the world. So just because you don't understand them doesn't mean it's a frequency issue. It might be a knowledge issue. So you haven't thought what they're thinking. But if anybody wanted to go ahead, I mean, Nora, she went ahead and there were 2 people talking in the coffee connection with one another, which again was fine. But most of the people felt lost, but Nora didn't. Nora thought about asking a question, but because these 2 people that were talking were men and she didn't want to make them feel stupid. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying, she could have asked a question and it would have just absolutely buried probably both of them. But because she's a woman, she's been taught as a woman, you don't make men feel stupid. But the challenge is if you don't reveal, you're not making them feel anything. You're just revealing you're not that smart, boys. And so if you don't reveal that, they don't get any smarter. So they're stuck where they're at. So what you can do, Luke, is I'm not going to get involved in that conversation. I mean, it was hard because everybody was, and I almost jumped in. I said, nope, just leave it be. And it went the way it went. And then they picked it up afterwards and they talked for a long time. And they loved talking to one another. They enjoyed that a lot. And so, was that mental masturbation? I don't know. And so asking, like you can ask Luke in any of those things, you can say, hey, Mark, what do you think about what they're talking about? You bring me into the conversation. You're the one that brought me in. Mark, I'm not understanding what they're saying. Can you explain it to me?
Mm-hmm.
You can do that, and I can probably translate it. A lot of times people with knowledge, they want everybody to think they're smart. From my perception, one of those individuals wanted everybody, loves to have people think they're smart. I'm not saying the other person didn't. I'm just saying the other person, to me, my perception of the other person was genuine interest in looking to learn, and I thought that was a beautiful thing. Coffee connection, you don't ever want to miss one. Just saying. I wouldn't. I don't. Anybody else have anything else?
I did have a thought on I know that the drinking, that's like a normal thing, like people escape f from stuff by drinking. How does that like play into other things like, let's say for women it's, maybe shopping or, things that women do. For guys, it's, I don't know, maybe like golfing or other things. Like they do that like
Right.
when to escape. How is it any different? Does it just look a little different
Yeah,
than the drinking or any of the other things?
yeah, it's a great question. It's a wonderful question. Um, and so you could have said, I don't know, Mark, like, I don't know, some people go ahead and play pickleball. You could have said that. And so I think that there's natural things like my mom, she didn't talk about physical intimacy much in the marriage, so there wasn't a lot of conversations. But she did go ahead and say that once, I think, that, for my dad, it was the intimacy it's an escape. So in a marriage, it's designed. God designed that to go ahead and be natural, and so it's natural. So, pickleball, golf. I'm not going to say shopping. I mean, shopping takes work. I mean, it doesn't. It like for a guy, it takes a lot of work. For me, it takes a lot of work to go shopping. Like, man, that's harder. And so with pickleball, golf, if you're doing exercise, if you're doing physical, something to get the adrenaline hit, and it's healthy for you, if it's healthy for you, I would say it is different. Like it's very, very different. So, you know, if I go ahead and am highly stressed and I go out and play pickleball or I go out and chop wood, like like if I go out and do physical activity, the dopamine hit's going to kick in and that's going to provide some level of healing, some level. We're just about finished. We're running just a couple minutes over. Bear with us here. This is really good. So those are natural things, Nora, that I think God's designed in us to go ahead and be stress relievers. And when we're productive, when we're productive, um, we just feel good about ourselves. So there is a difference. The concept is similar, but there's a huge difference between, I mean, entertainment, I think, can be like that. What do? You sit down and you're just entertained. Like you just watch a movie, go to a concert, you feel good. You don't do anything, you're just there. So I think that could be similar. But I think the reason that alcohol is so dangerous is you just have to go to the fridge and get a get a beer. And so alcohol and drugs, um, you know, pornography, all of those kind of things, like all of those things, what they do is they go ahead and that you feel good in the moment, but you really feel bad after the fact. Like you don't feel good. But if you're chopping wood or you're doing exercise, if your body is moving and active, and maybe somebody could say, "Well, I get more exercise, going shopping." Okay, I mean, that's what it is. But shopping, eh, for women, it seems like it's especially that can be dangerous, right? I mean, it gives you a dopamine hit because you're getting something new. So when you look at hoarders, like their whole house and garage, everything's filled with something. What they're doing is hoarders, psychologically, what they're doing is they're placing a feeling with an object rather than an experience with God or on your own or with a loved one, a husband, a wife, or a mom or dad or a friend or something like that. So, does that answer your question or not so much?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. So, good question.
I
That was a
talked
one
to
more.
someone from my church, and he said at one point of time in his life, work was his thing. He
I
worked.
can see that too. I mean, I can totally see that. Like you feel so good. I mean, maybe as a woman, the women on can say, yeah, but men, like you feel productive. Like as a husband, sometimes you work so hard and as a husband, being a husband, and it doesn't seem to work. Or as a dad, you're like, really? I'm going to do all of this work and I don't get any, it doesn't seem to be working. And so you go work. But in work, by and large, and I'm not, I mean, that can be taken too far too, without question. Oh, there's actually, and well, if you guys want to bring it up on the next podcast, not the next one, but next week's podcast on the young men, there's actually hypoxia on work. I just remembered something about top level executives where they do that. But work, physical labor, it does something to the body that helps you to recover, from stress or disappointment or discouragement or depression. A lot of depression comes from laziness, physically, mentally, emotionally, everything. A lot of it comes from that. And so, but work for sure, like it can go ahead and take away from the marriage. It can take away from the kids. And so, yeah, yepper. So good, great podcast. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much. Always remember we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye bye.